Hey, everybody. My name is Elijah Desmond. I'm your host with Closing the Deal Dental Podcast. Super excited to have my buddy Tim McNeely. How you doing, Tim?
Excellent today.
Lovely, lovely. Hey, for those of you who have not heard of Tim, I don't know where you've been, but let me go ahead and introduce Tim. First off, Tim is my personal financial advisor. It is amazing to work with him. It was awesome to sit down with him and go through the strategic plan with my wife and prepare for our future and setting our kids up for success and ultimately creating the masterful piece that he's helping us create, which is generational wealth. So Tim McNeely helps entrepreneurial dentists simplify wealth and exit planning so they can make informed financial decisions and build a lasting legacy. As the founder of Dental Wealth Nation and an advisor with a virtual family office approach, Tim works with dentists to navigate the complexities of growing, protecting, and transitioning their wealth. With credentials like CFP, CIMA, and CEPA, Tim focuses on delivering personalized strategies to help clients align their financial plans with their goals for today and the future. Now, Tim, I'm going to start off with the same question we ask everybody. If you were to sell everything, your life's work, and you're about to walk on stage, what is the walk on song? Because you know that's what we do with Dental Pitch when these dentists are selling. What is that walk on song that you're coming on stage to?
Yeah, right. No pressure there for like the song for getting ready to sell your life's work. But I'm an emo kid, so I love punk rock. I love emo, right? I love the easy core stuff. So you might think I have a punk rock song, but I actually don't. I have a show tune, if you can believe that or not, Elijah. And that show tune, no question about it, is The Greatest Show, right? Hugh Jackman, The Greatest Show. And the reason is being an entrepreneur, that's what we're doing. We are stepping into a story that's so much bigger than ourselves. It's filled with risk, it's filled with vision and relentless execution. And we just don't build businesses, we build legacies. So for me, absolutely, without a doubt, it's going to be The Greatest Show.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for that. Now, Tim, can you tell all of our viewers and listeners your background? Tell us your journey on how you got to where you are today and how long you've been advising dentists, etc.
Yeah, so I ended up marrying a dentist about 17 years ago, and that's when the journey started. And it was so interesting, Elijah. When I met my wife, right, I passed the CFP boards at that time, that certified financial planner. So I had a lot of head knowledge, right? I knew this stuff theoretically. But then I met and fell in love with the dentist, and lo and behold, that book knowledge didn't help much. I didn't have any experiential knowledge, and I couldn't help my wife with the cash flow issues in her practice. I couldn't help her grow the practice. I couldn't help her protect everything that she had worked so hard for. And I actually found myself in a job and a career I absolutely hated because it wasn't having an impact for her. And so I reached out. I'm a big fan of coaching, right? Just like you are, just like every driven dental entrepreneur is. I reached out. I hired the best consultants in my industry so I could really learn, right? How do we make a difference for the people that we care about? And through that process, we implemented wealth management, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, right? Wealth management is something actually very specific. We started implementing those strategies and got back to enjoying life again. And our practice started doing better. We got our financial plan on track. And I realized, hey, this is something I actually really enjoy. But when it all came home for us, Elijah, was when we were sitting in the doctor's office waiting for a specialist to come in and tell my wife if she had a future in dentistry. As you know, in dentistry, your hands are absolutely everything. So imagine being there under the harsh fluorescent lights, waiting for the specialist with a not so great bedside manner to come in and tell the person you love the most if they've got a future in their chosen career. And the reason I'm never going to forget that day, Elijah, is it didn't matter what he said when he came in the room. We had run the numbers, we had done the planning, and we knew that no matter what he told us, we were going to be okay. And that's what gets me up every single day. That's why I enjoy what I do so much. It's helping dental entrepreneurs being protected from when things don't go as expected, but also, more importantly, being able to take advantage of all the different opportunities that are out there.
Wow, that's amazing, Tim. I got goosebumps when you're telling me that story. I'm imagining sitting there and waiting for them. And this is the feeling of knowing that everything is going to be okay because you're able to plan for that. It spoke straight to me. So this goes into really our first big question. How far in advance should dentists start planning, their exit to maximize value?
It's such a great question. I'll give you the short answer first. The day they open their practice doors, right? If that's when you should start planning to sell your practice is the day you acquire. And that may sound crazy, but you really want to do that. And the reason is, right, realistically, to maximize your value, you should start planning your exit at least 5 years in advance and even earlier. There's an old Chinese proverb, right? The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. And the reason is your practice, it just isn't a business. It's so much more than that. It is an asset, and not just an asset, it's a high value asset. Its worth is going to be tied directly to how well structured it is, if it's optimized, and if you've de-risked it over time. And I always tell my clients and people that I'm talking to, if you're thinking about selling, you're already behind. If it's just now hitting you, you're already behind the eight ball. And the dentists who walk away with the biggest paydays are the ones who've optimized their profitability. They've built a self-sustaining business. And the last one that we're going to talk a little bit more about today is they've planned for tax efficiency, because it's not about just what you make. It's about what you keep. And that's what you want to do. You want to turn your practice into a premium investment, not just for the buyers, but for your own long-term wealth. And so the sooner you get started on this, the better.
Tim, can you discuss strategies to reduce tax liabilities during the sale of a dental practice, like very specific strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll run through a couple here. And once again, I don't know if these are appropriate for everyone, because you got to do the discovery. It's like it would be like me walking into a dentist office and saying, "What kind of treatment do I need?" The dentist is going to say, "I have no idea. I can tell you what I do, and we'll figure out what's appropriate for you once we do the X-rays and the exam." So these are general strategies. I want to stress that, and you got to figure out, are these right for you? But really, the tax planning matters so much. Why? The real money is won or lost in how much you keep after the sale. And many dentists don't realize that actually how your sale is structured, it can mean the difference between keeping a large portion or losing about 40% to taxes. So what are some of the top strategies? Well, one that we see is something called a qualified opportunity zone. And a qualified to opportunity zone allows you to actually roll the proceeds from your sale. Think about doing a 1031 in real estate, right? You can roll the funds, you can defer the taxes. Well, this allows you to do that in a business. You can invest into some areas of the economy that have been identified as these qualified opportunity zones. And in that process, you can defer and even reduce capital gains. So qualified opportunity zones could make a lot of sense for you. Installment sales, and we see this when oftentimes selling to DSOs, you'll actually keep back part of the practice proceeds in terms of a holdback. Doing that is a great tax planning strategy, because once again, you're able to defer those taxes into the future. The last thing that can make a lot of sense for people, especially if you're charitably inclined in some way, is you can actually bunch your charitable gifting. So some dentists say, I get 10 grand a year away for charity, or 20 grand, whatever that number is. We go, great. Well, what about you just had your largest taxable income that you've ever had by selling your practice? What about if you just bunch 10 years worth of giving and put $100,000 in something called a donor advised fund, take a $100,000 write off, and now you've got a pool of money that's acting like a private family foundation. That can be a major, major win for a lot of people. In fact, I had some clients do this when they sold their practice, and they were able to actually donate to a local museum that they had always wanted to help support. Now they're on the board of directors, and they're really making an impact, and their best days are ahead of them, not behind them. So tying it in with charitable planning, that can be another major big win. But really, the best strategy of all is get clear on what's important to you, and don't let anyone else drive the tax planning. You've got to drive the tax planning based on what your goals are. Otherwise, you can get pulled off in a lot of different directions into some things that might not necessarily work, and the IRS is going to want to take a look at later. And you certainly don't want that kind of stress in your practice sale and after you've stepped away from the business.
Awesome. And so, Tim, some of the viewers that are watching our podcast, they're not ready to sell just yet. Maybe they have some years before they sell, but they want to be as prepared as possible. But they do have some liquid cash that they are looking to invest in, and they want to prepare for their future. Can you give us two strategies that you can give these people that have liquid cash to invest, and they haven't got to the point of when they're ready to sell yet?
Yeah, no, I love that question. So I'll even back up a little and talk about just investments in general and risk profile and growth. And one of the things I really believe is you are going to get, if you are a capable business person, if you're good at owning your practice, the highest rate of return that you're ever going to get is by investing in yourself. It's investing in your practice and growing that asset. So I believe that's one of the best investments that you can make, is actually investing in yourself. Secondarily, I really believe a good investment is working with a high quality wealth advisor who's going to help you get clear, because there's so many different investments out there, right? You've got cryptos, you've got real estate, you've got private equity, you've got bonds, you've got stocks, and all the different allocations, right? It's such a big world of investments. And each one of those things I just named, there's multiple ways you can invest in them too. And so getting clarity, working with a wealth advisor who's going to serve as your general contractor and as a fiduciary, and a fiduciary is someone who acts in your best interest, building that plan out and getting clarity on what your future looks like, that's a great investment. Because as you get that clarity, all of a sudden, do I allocate money to my practice? Do I allocate money over here? Do I put more money in retirement? All of those things become really clear. And working with a wealth advisor, you can also calculate what your number is, right? This is so important, right? When you walk away, you need to know what is the number that you need to help sustain your lifestyle for the rest of your life. So getting clear on that number and taking steps towards get there, those are two of the best investments you can make. Number one, invest in yourself. Number one, invest in getting clear and really putting a plan together.
Awesome. Thank you. What role does advanced planning play in a successful practice sale? And what kind of team should a selling doctor have to ensure a smooth transition?
Great question. So advanced planning is actually part of wealth management. And I want to give everyone a definition of wealth management here, because it's important that you understand how this all fits together. But most advisors who say they're wealth managers are actually just focused on the first core component of wealth management, and that's investment consulting. You want to make sure your investments are diversified. You want to make sure you've got the right investment portfolio. But that's not all that makes up wealth management. There's actually a whole nother component of wealth management called advanced planning. And in advanced planning, there's four key areas that we're going to dive in and we're going to look at. The first is wealth enhancement. How do you mitigate your taxes, both on the sale of your practice and on your income and on your investments, right? You want to pay the minimum amount of taxes legally. You don't want to do anything crazy, but you want to work within the system to make sure you're minimizing taxes. The second key area of advanced planning is actually wealth transfer. It's how do you build that generational wealth? How do you get money and assets to the next generation so you can take care of the people you love? The third key area of advanced planning is actually wealth protection, right? As you create wealth, there's going to be people out there who want what you've worked so hard for. So how do you protect your money from being unjustly taken, from scammers, from divorce, or some other unjust means out there? You want to make sure your lifetime of hard work is protected. The fourth key area of advanced planning is actually charitable gifting. About a third of the people I work with are very charitably inclined. They have causes they care about, right? For you, Elijah, it's helping kids out, right? You're passionate about these things and you want a well thought out plan that's going to help you implement these advanced planning strategies. So really advanced planning, it plays a major role as you walk away from your practice. But to do advanced planning, you need a team of the best professionals. No one's an expert in everything, right? I know about business valuations, but I don't do them. I know how to drive EBITDA, but I don't do it. I turn to experts like you to implement those strategies, right? Once again, general contractor, bringing in the right subcontractors. So who are some of the subcontractors you should have on your team? You got to have a good CPA. You want someone who's going to help you structure the sale, who's going to help minimize those tax liabilities, who's going to do the filing. You need a great attorney. You need someone who's going to draft those great agreements and help protect you against any post-sale liabilities. And you need a great practice transition specialist, someone who's going to help you maximize and really work hand in hand with you to accelerate that value as you get ready to exit. And the amazing thing is, when all these professionals start working together, typically you're going to walk away with more money, less stress, and a clear plan for what's next. It's really is putting in the greatest show, right? This is your team of professionals helping you prepare for that moment.
What should dentists consider regarding wealth management?
Yeah. So, right, the sale, this is not the finish line for you. A lot of people think it is, but it really isn't. The sale is actually the starting line, and it's the starting line for you and your new chapter of wealth and for what's next. And now there's going to be a shift that takes place Prior to selling your practice, you were in growth mode. You were in trying to build your wealth. Well, once you've unlocked the wealth that you've built in your practice, there's going to be a shift that takes place. Now, you really should consider starting to think about capital preservation. How do you protect everything that you've worked so hard for? And how do you turn this asset, right? This liquidity, how do you turn it into lifetime income? How do you turn it in to that generational wealth? What are the things that you can be doing there? So you absolutely want to think about capital preservation. Secondarily, we've already touched on it. Tax efficient investing is so important, right? In the investment world, we talk a lot about what we call tax alpha. Tax alpha is how do we make your investment portfolio more efficient so you get higher after tax returns? And we find that a properly optimized portfolio can typically add about 1 to 2% additional returns every single year simply by being efficient in how we invest the money. And then lastly, estate planning. This is so important, right? How do you structure your wealth for long-term impact? And how do you protect the people you love if something happens to you, right? Young kids, if you would have given me a lot of money when I was 16 or 17, I would have blown it. You give me a lot of money today, I know exactly what to do with it. And so you can use the estate planning tools that are out there to really help protect the people that you care about. So wealth management absolutely plays a major role before selling, during selling, and after selling your practice.
That's awesome. I want to bring up something from the bio that I read, earlier, and I think it's important that people understand, like, people hear the word family office, right? And you mentioned specifically, that you are working as, the founder of Dental Wealth Nation and an advisor with a virtual family office approach. Can you tell the world what is a virtual family office? I know that that's a big, huge hit that people are just wondering. Can you tell everybody what is a family office and how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's actually even back up a little bit, and I'll just define a family office is a team of the best individuals who are working towards you and your goals. That really is all it is. Now, when we start looking at the development of family offices, these started with the super rich and the ultra wealthy. They would essentially establish corporations, they would hire a team of the best people, and they would come in, and the job of this team was to manage the family's wealth. That's really cool to have if you got $500 million and you can spare $3 million a year on a payroll to have a team of estate planning specialists and real estate brokers and private aviation specialists and concierge doctors. Really, really nice. But what we found is that's actually out of range for most people, right? Most people, I don't have a $3 million a year payroll to have a family office. But what I do have, and what I actually started building with my wife years ago, was a virtual family office. And that's just a team of the best individuals that I can call who I work with, right? Not just referral based, right? It's one thing to refer and say, oh, hey, I know someone I can refer you to. It's another thing to say, no, 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 I know someone we can collaborate with. So, for example, when I send people to you to sell their business, we're talking numbers behind the scenes because the clients has given us permission to do that. And we're actually collaborating on this. And I'm getting data about practice values and plugging into the plan. We're talking about different exit strategies together. So there's deep collaboration. That's all a virtual family office is. And that's what a lot of the regulatory and technology changes have allowed is really us to bring down this family office experience to everyone. So think of a family office as a team of vetted professionals who are helping you achieve your goals. And it really is just this concept of everything in one place, and it just works. I don't know anyone who wakes up and says, I want to have a relationship with 9 different financial institutions today. Well, on average, that's what we have between our banks, between our credit cards, between our you're working with on average 9 different financial institutions. That's crazy. We want to simplify your life. We want to help bring it all under one roof so that you have a good general contractor helping you make smart choices now and in the future. So that's the best way to think about a family office. And another one of the books I helped underwrite and do a lot of research on, we've got 9 core drivers. And so there's some things that we find, but they're very unique. They're built for you and your family. And I always say, if you've seen one single family office, you've seen one single family office. These things are so different, so bespoke, so built for the needs of the family. There are some core drivers. And like I said, we've identified 9 of them, but they're really built for you and what you're trying to achieve.
Now, Tim, I believe that you said that you have been doing this for is it about 10 years you've been doing this?
Oh, I've been doing this about 17 years now, Elijah.
17 years. Okay. About 17 years. Now, and you have multiple things behind your name. Okay. And I know that you recently, and this is, I think you may be one of one in dentistry. You recently went through the latest certification, what has to do with exit planning. I would love if you could just, kind of tell us some of the things that you learned, what it is specifically. And then also, Tim, do you give any courses or CE courses or meet with dentists specifically about this? Can you give us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, great question. So there actually is one other person in dental with the CEPA. I'm the only person that I know of a CFP, which is Certified Financial Planner, Certified Investment Manager Analyst, and the Certified Exit Planning Advisor. So I don't know of anyone else in dental that has all three of those certifications. But a certified exit planner, this is done through the Exit Institute. There's actually an institute for exit planning. And there's a whole methodology around getting your business ready to sell. There's a whole process that you want to follow. And we've talked about some of these things already, right? It's the value acceleration piece, right? How do you increase your business? Because a lot of times, if you can do a couple things, if you can improve the operational efficiencies, you can unlock massive value in your business. So we talk about how do you figure out what that value gap is of what your business is worth today versus what it could be worth if it's best in class in all these different areas. Major value drivers. We talk about how do you calculate what your wealth gap is, and your wealth gap is the difference of funds that you have today versus what you require when you step away. That's the wealth gap. So we do those wealth gap calculations. And to me, it was a fantastic program because it really tied together all these different professionals. And we see this all the time. We've got your CPA doing one thing, the attorney's doing another thing, the wealth advisor's doing something else, but no one's really on the same page. This is a framework to bring everyone together to get them moving in the same direction for you. It's a fantastic program. And the way I help dentists is really simple. We do a second opinion. We take a look at where you are now, where you want to go, and we give you some suggestions on how to close those gaps. We'll look at some potential opportunities for you. We'll make some observations, and then we work consultatively with you to help make sure that you're getting advice that really is going to make a difference so that you can take better care of the people you love, support the causes you care about, and make a meaningful impact in the world. But that's the process, is a second opinion.
That's awesome. And, Tim, I did a really cool exercise with my business coach about 3 years ago. I used to have many LLCs myself, and now I do not have many, which is awesome. And exercise that we did is we basically took the amount of money that I was making currently and said, okay, if I were to retire today, how much is the amount of money I would need to retire with in order to maintain my current lifestyle? And there was another one where it was the next column over that was like an extravagant lifestyle, nowhere near where I'm at now, but it was an extravagant lifestyle. And what was the amount of money I needed to make to be at that lifestyle? And then there was one last one. And the last one was like, yeah, right, Elijah. Like, this is a crazy, way past this extravagant. And this is the amount to retire with it. And I thought that it was one of the best exercises that I had ever did. And my personal advice to the people that are listening is know your number. Know what that number is and know what lane that you want to sit in. And once you know your number, everything becomes easy. But I'm going to tell you the best part is having a partner to achieve that number with, like you, Tim, somebody to help you to get there ultimately. Because I could know my number, but I don't know how to get there. That I'm stuck in the water, right? And so I love what you're doing. I love the value that you have brought me, my wife, and family personally. And I'm super excited for people to reach out to you and connect. A couple things you mentioned a book. I'd love for people to get a chance to read the book or know where to get the book. Yep. And I would also like, lastly, for you to end with how do people reach you before you give the book and how do people reach you? Give one piece of advice to the dentists that are listening and they're thinking about their exit that they could take today and implement right away.
Oh, I would tell you, get clear sooner, not later. Start today. This is something my wife and I did, and we have so much peace around her practice now. And it's not this big, outstanding, stone around her neck anymore. It's something that if we want to walk away from, we can, because we started doing that planning, right? We paid off her real estate, we got a plan in action, and now we have more freedom today in terms of the choices that she wants to make. So get clear sooner, not later. The more you put this off, the harder it's going to be to recover, the harder it's going to be to grow your value. So start today. And actually, for all your listeners, Elijah, I'm going to do something special. Anyone who wants a copy of my book, usually it's free plus shipping. Go ahead and send me an email, which I'll give you in a second, or shoot me a text. I'll send you a PDF copy for free, no charge. I want to get that value out there to every listener. And we dive into depth into family offices. We talk about what wealth management is. We give you strategies and tactics that you can use to decrease taxes and increase your impact. So I want to do that for all your listeners. And real easy to get a hold of. You can go to Tim McNeely, TIMMCNEELY.com, or shoot me a text at 818-534-4949, and I'll send you a PDF of the book, no charge.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Tim. It was great to have you. And for all of our listeners, I hope you got major value out of this. I know so many of you are planning for your future, and we will see you on the next episode of Closing the Deal. Bye-bye, everybody.